This is a new carving I just finished up yesterday. It's another blockhead, same design I've done, I think 3 of these now. This will probably be the last blockhead design. I'm going to have to take a chance and do some hair or come up with a different hat. Maybe I can just do a round hat. That would be pretty easy, like a round fur hat. There's an interesting story that goes along with this one that I'm looking forward to sharing with you. As far as the finishing, the staining and whatnot. I should say I tried to stain it. And I blotched it really bad, even though I used wood conditioner. This is Douglas fir wood, believe it or not. Take a look at that wood graining. Believe it or not, that's not real wood grain. That's a fake wood grain. The stand is real wood grain. That's oak. From making banjos, I have a whole stack around leftover wood there, so I can use those to make stands. It's made out of Douglas fir, believe it or not. And Douglas fir is notorious for blotching, like pine is. A lot of your light wood is notorious for blotching. Anyway, this one is 32 inches tall. It's a lot bigger than the other ones I've done. It's almost 32 inches tall. So if I doubled one, if I made one twice as big, it would be 5'2". That's about the average size of a woman, maybe a little smaller. Maybe one day I'll make a 7-footer in this design. I started watching a few YouTube videos about how to make fake wood grain, faux wood grain. It's also called wood graining. And I ran across a few videos that I thought I would be able to pull off. I got ideas, none of them were exact how I did it, but what I did is I went down to Home Depot and got a can of this Rust-Oleum 2X Ultra Cover. This color is warm caramel, so it was a lot lighter than that. But if you look, you can still see the lightness under there, the two-tone. And it's important for it to be satin, so when you put the gel on, it slides. And it's important for it to have primer in there. Without the primer, you know, the paint eventually would probably peel off. Who knows, for all I know, maybe this will peel off, but I don't anticipate that. So after I painted it, I let it dry for a day, and then I use this mahogany gel stain that I've had for a long time. Gel stain is thicker than stain, regular liquid stain. This is pretty thin for a gel stain though. But anyway, I used a brush and I just barely put it in there, just the very tip, and then I brushed it off, and then I brushed it on, actually it was a paper bag to get most of it off. And then what I did is I just lightly went like that to create streaks like wood grain. And then I used a completely dry brush, completely dry, to lightly blend it in like that. And I was blown away by how well it worked. I couldn't believe it. So I'm actually glad that it turned out blotchy the first time around, because I never would have learned this technique otherwise. And now that opens up a lot more possibilities working with Douglas fir, which is really inexpensive wood, and you can get it in a lot bigger pieces. I like working with cedar best, but it's a lot more expensive, and they don't sell them in 4x6. I'll show you the block of wood that I used to make this carving out of. The Douglas fir, 4 inches wide, 6 inches across, and the original piece was about 10 feet. I carved a cat. You might remember I carved a cat out of this piece, and then I just finished up this blockhead. It turned out pretty well, I guess. I really liked how the robe turned out. It's pretty creative with the robe. It stands out when you're back from it. You know, because I carved everything really deep, it'll stand out when you're far away from it. It's pretty striking when you first see it, because it's so big and weird looking, which is what I was going for. I think for the robe I got a new angle grinder here, which made the robe pretty easy work. It took about an hour to get all those grooves in the robe part. Then I used a orbital sander to smooth it all out. So it looks maybe like it took a long time to get those grooves in, and ordinarily it would. Before, in the past, it would take a lot longer than that, using files and carving tools and whatnot. But by the way, I carved these probably a couple months ago. These are banjo guitar wall hangers. I still haven't screwed these in. It also could be like a hat rack or a coat rack. I don't know where to put them, so that's why I haven't hung them up yet. But I think this one here probably needs a woman, so I'm going to carve a woman figure. A little bit shorter than he is. I think I probably need a woman too, but I've seen too many episodes of Snapped to go down to try to get too serious with any woman. As soon as they would ask me to take out a life insurance policy, I'd run away as fast as I could. So I just wanted to document this for the record on my YouTube channel. And it turned out pretty good. I made that symbol there on the hat. I didn't know what to put up there. It's kind of like a V with a 0 in between. If anybody knows what that means, let me know. I have no idea. It's just basically for design to add to the whole mystique of the thing. This sun here came from a wind chime. It was a part of a wind chime link that I've had for a long time, and I just took it out of that. Then I painted it yesterday, and I used double-sided tape to stick it on there. I was going to put a clock in there, like a clock insert, and I bought it and it arrived, but it was broken, so I had to send it back. This might be temporary, or I might just leave it on there. It's on there pretty good. I could carve it out, something like that, pretty easily. Just put it on a block of wood, trace it with a pencil all the way around, and then cut it out. And then be pretty easy to carve in the face, a real simple face there. But that looks pretty good, I think. I don't know what to call this one. It looks like the other blockheads that I've made. The blockhead, the idea for the blockhead, I was watching an old movie from 1970. It was a Dracula movie, one of the Dracula movies they made. And I didn't watch the whole movie, it was pretty bad, but I noticed that a lot of the people that were riding a horse, they had on these really tall hats that looked just like this. I guess they're like tall fur hats to keep them warm in the wintertime. But I need to move on. I need to take a chance and to try to come up with something different. It gets boring doing the same thing. My cats will probably use it for a scratching post, I'm sure. There it is. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care.